All right, let's talk about some things that may be in the news. Let's talk about some things in the news. Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's talk about some things in the news. Let me see here. All right, so the stock market. We always have to talk about money. Of course, we have to talk about money. And like I said, I will keep anything that I find interesting. I will keep bringing it to you. So that we can make sure we're talking about money and not just real estate, because I feel like the best training for mindset is when you actually see real life things going on in the market, right? So we know that there's been some gains with the market because of what they call the Santa Claus rally that's been happening. Typically happens after Christmas. People are in high spirit, they're spending money, and some people are in a position where they can take some gains as well, right? So, but as you can see, we're in uncharted territories. Okay, uncharted territories. Um, Paired. When they say paired gains, that means there were some gains that had basically been trimmed off. Okay, so you want to be careful if you're in this marketplace. If you have money in the marketplace, that especially if you're acting like a trader, you want to be careful. I'm always of the opinion that you should definitely make sure that you're long term mindset always. I know that you're trying to make money right now, you're trying to get rich instantly right now. The same thing goes for if you're messing around with crypto coins and things like that. You want to make sure that you're not eating yourself up. You want to make sure you're not short-sighted. It's very important to not be short-sighted. So S&P 5 was little changed in the last hour of trading Thursday, which is today, a day after posting its 78th record close of the year. That was yesterday, right? So we know. In illustration, still labor demand despite the latest, that word, unexpectedly fell last week while continuing claims. Okay, so jobless claims is still falling, which means people are finding jobs. That's a good thing. Okay. So in the midst of all the pandemic news that's still going on and all this new variants, whatever is going on, you can see that survival is key. Survival is key. People need to survive. The market must survive. The market is the people. It's the same thing when it comes to real estate. The same ideology, right? Like when people say, "So can I really make money?" It's like you telling me, are people gonna keep buying houses or renting houses, or like yes, you can make money. It just depends on where you're positioned in the game and if you're positioned to win, right? Okay. Usually we get the Santa Claus rally, but then these last couple of days can be pretty volatile. That's because again we're in uncharted territories. So while on the last stream I talked about the Santa Claus rally a little bit, you want to be careful, okay? Because again, even though records for I think close on 100 years shown that this time is good in the stock market, we also know that there's something different going on, right? All right, so let's see here. Yeah, another news that broke out is the cruise line stock, blah blah blah. Basically, the CDC came out telling people to avoid cruises. So now, as far as you and I were concerned, it's like no big deal. But that's somebody's business, right? Not just that business, right? But many other businesses that are connected to that. So we're talking about the entertainers on the cruise ship, right? We're talking about all the people that work on the cruise ship. We're talking about all these different stops that they stop when they're on the water, right? We're talking about a lot of businesses that can potentially go under because of this crazy ass news. So what is the moral of the story here? Humility. When you are in the business world as an entrepreneur, you always have to be humble. I'm speaking from experience. Okay? Trust me, I am speaking from experience. Okay? No matter how good, see, let me tell you something. My first 24 months in the business of real estate, I did $3 million. Okay? And the third year after that, you know exactly what happened in 2008. Okay? And it's not something I saw coming. Okay? It's literally wiped out my business. Okay? So when I tell you, believe me when I say, hey, approach entrepreneurship with humility. Okay? No matter what you think, you know, or no matter how much success you're creating, there's always a blind spot, and you just want to not build guards up in a way that you will hurt yourself business wise, but also just be aware, right, that you need to be humble at the end of the day. But there's a lot of moving variables, as you can see, in business. Okay. At the year end, there's nothing dramatically changing in terms of new information on macro changes. There's something else that I saw here I thought we should pick up as a lesson. Oh yeah, so let's talk about this guy right here, luxury real estate brokerage, Douglas. So this is connected to a lot of lessons to a big lesson that I want you to walk away from this with. Okay, it's connected to a lot. 1 second. So this guys right here. So if you ever watch those shows, I think they call them $1 Million Listings. It's a show on I forgot what network. It's on TV, right? So but basically it's a brokerage. It's a luxury real estate brokerage. They just went IPO, meaning you can now buy shares of their stocks. So if you go here, we could see their stocks in the past few days. Okay, if I go 1 month, you see it's nothing there, right? So they're literally brand new, right? You can see there was a quick rally up to $11, and then there was a slight flat over here, and it's doing $11 today. Okay, so what does the headline says? Stock rises as much as 19% in trading debut. Okay. Plunged 36% after spin-off of Douglas Elliman. Okay, I think that's I don't know what that is. Something that had interest in it, right? Goes public on the New York Stock Exchange. So yeah, so they're brand new. Now, what does this mean? What it means is that they are now open to collecting the public's money to potentially expand the business. Okay, right? So this is a huge company, right? That was already doing well. Because think about it like this: companies that are not doing well don't go IPO. Okay, they typically not, at least not on the New York Stock Exchange, right? There are some that become penny stock, and they're just frauds, right? I get that, but I'm talking about going live IPO on the New York Exchange. Usually means that there's a positive reason to do that, because they have to sell people on. They have to sell people on the idea of this new business venture, right? So so I think the lesson here is that leverage is key. At some point you get to a place of expansion in business, and the next level is IPO, right? I've seen stories of people that said, I will never take my company private, kind of like the guy who owns AliExpress, Alibaba, right, .com. I think he said, if I'm getting this correctly, I think it said it will never go public, right? But the truth is that there's levels to this stuff.